Able developers, you are highly welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to be building a sales management dashboard using modern design concept. Guys, you are going to love this. The dashboard we're going to be building today is so sleek, beautiful, and very interactive. We're going to be integrating D3.js map, and we're going to be configuring the map to have what I call interactions. You can hover over each of the country, highlights a country, and that makes a lot of sense. We are going to be creating all of this using just React.js and Tailwind CSS. Guys, you're going to love this. So without wasting time, let's take a look at the project we are about to build.
This is a project we are going to be building today. This is beautiful project with sleek UI and it makes a lot of sense. Awesome, guys. This is beautiful, guys. So we're going to be creating this today using React and Tailwind CSS. This is awesome, guys. This is great. So we are going to be creating this today using Tailwind and React.js. That is awesome, guys. So this is what we're going to be creating today. Also, it has a map. We can even zoom the map. Can zoom anywhere we want to zoom to the map on the map. And that is awesome, guys. So we'll be learning how to do all of this, how to do this today. This is my country. So we'll be learning how to create this using React.js. Awesome, guys. Awesome. So, guys, this is a step-by-step tutorial that will help you learn how to create all of this in today's tutorial. It is also, it has both light and dark mode. And you see when I refresh, it's preserved between it's using. So you see when I refresh here, it uses that mode to refresh. It's nothing like color flashing, and that is cool. Also, it is very responsive. Let's check how responsive it is. And look at it. Very responsive, guys. Awesome, guys. This is beautiful. Cool. Awesome. So we're going to be learning how to do this using Tailwind CSS with React.js. Awesome. Great. So, guys, without wasting time, let's get to the coding part of the project.
If you are watching this video up to this extent and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, guys, please support me grow on YouTube by subscribing to my channel. And also remember to like this video and write your comment on the comment section, because as you do so, YouTube will recommend this video to more and more people who are ready to learn. Guys, please help me grow on YouTube by subscribing to this channel and also like the video and comment and also share the video. Even if you cannot do all of them, just do at least one of them. Guys, say thank you to me by subscribing to the channel. And as you do so, thank you so much. Thank you so massively. And without wasting much time, let's get into the coding.
Here is the starter code for this project. We're going to be using this starter code in order to save time and also so that you will use the same version of dependencies that I made use of even when you are building this in the future. It's possible that in the future, most of the dependencies we have newer versions. And when you make use of this starter code, you are going to be making use of the same version that I made use of. So let's go ahead and create a new project. So click on this Explorer icon and click on Open Folder. Let's go to Desktop, and right here, I'm going to create a new folder called Sorosio-React, and hit on Create and hit on Open to open it as a root folder. Awesome. As you can see, the folder has been opened as a root folder. Now here on GitHub, this is the starter code. Go ahead and download the starter code. And if you have Git installed into your computer, click on this to copy this link, the repo link, and come to VS Code and click on this icon here to open a terminal. All right, so here in the terminal, we're going to clone this repo using Git. So before you can do this, you need to have Git installed into your computer. So let me go ahead and say Git clone, then I'll paste the link that I copied and go ahead and hit on enter. Beautiful. As you can see, it is done cloning, and let's open this. As you can see, we have a folder here, and it contains those files we have in our GitHub, and we have successfully cloned the starter code. So I want the content of this folder to be within the root folder. So I'm going to highlight everything, and I'm going to move it to the root folder. So we're moving it to the root folder, and this is it. So as you can see, the clone folder is now empty. So let's go ahead and delete it. Awesome. Now, the next thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and install the dependencies that we're going to be making use of. As you can see, if you open the package.json file, you see that we're going to be making use of those dependencies. Look at the dependency name and the version. So when you're making use of this starter code, even in the future, you are going to be making use of the same dependencies of the same version of dependency that I made use of here, which will prevent errors, because you might be trying to use another version to do what we did in this tutorial, and you might encounter errors because things has changed in that newer version that you are trying to make use of. So, but when you are making use of this particular starter code, you will be able to make use of the same versions of dependencies that we used. All right, so let's go ahead and install the dependencies. First of all, let me right clear and hit on enter to clear the terminal, and let's use npm install and hit on enter to install the dependencies. Beautiful. As you can see, the dependencies has been installed successfully, and the node models folder has been added. This node models folder hosts all the dependencies that has been installed. Now let's go ahead, clear the terminal, and let's run this application by using npm run dev. Awesome. Now, what we're going to do now is let's hold on command, and if you're on window, hold on control. All right, so let me hold on command and click on this, and it will now open on the browser. As you can see, it is open on the browser. Now, let's take a look at what we have within this starter code. So the first folder we have within the SRC. Okay, so the major focus here is the SRC folder. As you can see, the public folder will just have the Vite logo within an SVG file. So our major focus is the SRC folder. And within the SRC folder, we have the assets folder, which contains all the images we are going to be making use of. Awesome. Now, the next folder is the data folder. So it contains, number one, is the active countries we're going to be making use of when we are creating the map. The interactive map we're going to be creating using D3.js. Also, we have the GeoJSON data here. This is a very large amount of data. We have it here. All right. So we are going to be looking into it when we get to the section where we are going to be creating the map. Also, now we have the app.jsx file. And if you take a look at the content of the app components, you see that that is what we have within the browser. It is displayed. However, we are going to be removing this content and replace it with other content when we start creating this. So, but please guys, if you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and click on that subscribe button. It will not take you more than a minute to do that. It will not even take you more than 30 seconds to just click on that subscribe button and subscribe to this channel. Help me grow on YouTube by subscribing. All right, so the next file we have is the index.css file. As you can see, it is empty. There's nothing in there. Now, the next file we have is the main.js file. Here in the main.js file, we have imported the app.js file component, and we have rendered it here. All right, we also imported the index.css file into this place, which means any CSS we write within index.css file will be available in our application. Beautiful. So that is what we have there. And here is our index.html file. Let me go ahead and close the terminal. The terminal is still running, but I just hide it so that we can see what we are doing very clearly. So this is the index.html file, and this is the root element where our application is being rendered within. All right. As you can see, we also link to the main.js where we render the application into the root elements. Let's take a look at it again. You see it, we selected the root and we rendered the app components into it. Awesome. This is cool. All right. So the next thing we need to do now is let's go ahead and install Tailwind into this project. So to do that, let's come to the browser and let's open a new tab and let's search for TailwindCSS.com and let's go ahead and hit on docs. So this React project was set up using Vite. So let's search for Vite so that we are going to follow the instruction to install Tailwind when we're using Vite. All right, so I'll click on this. So these are the instructions. So let's follow these instructions step by step. The first instruction here is to create a React project using Vite, which we have already done that. All right, the project is already created. So let's move to the next instruction. So the next instruction is to install Tailwind. So let's copy this command. Let's copy it and let's come to the terminal. So let's open the terminal. We're not going to, this terminal, this is where our application is running. We're not going to stop the application from running. All we need to do is to click on this plus icon to add another terminal. So this is where the application is running, the first terminal. And this second one, let's use it to be installing any dependencies we want to install. So let me paste that command that I just copied and let's hit and enter. Awesome. As you can see, it has been installed successfully. So, but we need to run the second command so that it will generate the tailwind.config.js file and also the CSS file for us. So I'm going to paste this and hit on enter. Awesome. As you can see, it has generated this tailwind.config.js file for us and also generated this file for us, although we don't have any use of this in this project. So let's configure this. So it's now telling us to open the tailwind.config.js and copy this code here and paste it within the content bar. So let's paste it here. Awesome. Now there is it. So it's now telling us to copy this code here and let's copy it. Let's paste it within, it's set out to paste it within the index.css. So I'm going to paste it here. Awesome. Now we are done and it's now telling us to run the application by using npm run dev, which we have already done. So the application is running already. So let's just try it and refresh. Okay, so I think we need to rerun this application. So let's come over here and let's close the terminal where the application is running by using Ctrl C, or you can use Command C, it's Ctrl C that you can use to do that. So I'm going to clear this terminal and let's rerun the application by using npm run dev. Awesome. So you see the Tailwind code is now it's taking effect right now. So let's test it. Let's come back to app.js and let's say class name. Let's change the color. Let's see text. Let's use red color. You see when we make changes, it automatically refresh. And as you can see, the Tailwind code is working perfectly fine. And the text color has changed to red, which is awesome. It is cool, guys. So the next thing we need to do before we continue, let's come back to this index.css. We are going to be making use of our variables. Okay, so let's configure everything now before we now start creating the different components we need to create. So when you open the asset folder, you will see a file called variables.md. Open that. So these are the CSS variables we're going to be making use of in the project. So let's go ahead and copy the variables and let's come to our index.css and I'm going to paste it right here. Awesome. As you can see, these are the variables. So these are for the light mode. This first one is for the light mode, while this one is for the dark mode. Okay, so the only you see the names of the variables are the same. So the thing is, on light mode, the color code will point to light mode compatible color like white, and on dark mode, it will use a dark color. So we just switch it to dark color. That's what happens here. So let's go ahead and let's go to tailwind.config.js. All right. So here, let's define the colors using the variables. So we are going to use those variables to define our color. So the primary, okay. So the primary color now, let's see this value, RGB. Then they're going to say var primary, and let's divide it by the alpha value. And there is it. So you might be wondering why we are using all of we're dividing it with alpha value. This is because, okay, let me go ahead and make use of this primary color that we just defined. You see, let's come over here. Now that I've defined a primary color, I can now see, for example, text primary, right? Text primary, okay? And you see the primary color, look at this. Let me, you know, and you can see this is the primary color, some kind of it's blue violet, all right? So this is it. And if we want to make it some kind of transparent, we can divide it with an alpha value ranging from 0 to 100. So let's say we're dividing it with 50. See, it's somehow transparent right now. And you can use this for background and it will work perfectly fine. So without we using this expression here, this thing we did here, this division we did here won't work. All right. So hope you grab that. So all we need to do now, let's go ahead and declare the next one. So let's say RGB. Okay. And we are going to say UI dash base. Right. We are going to divide it alpha value. So maybe just duplicate and beat there. You know, we can save time. Okay, so you'll see second here. All right. Awesome. So this word, let's see the color is cells. Okay. And let's go ahead and paste the chest color. So this is chest color, but I'm not going to write it here. Let's just say T color and text in the jet. Let's take this one with T or jet. And I'm going to change this to sex widget. As you can see, all these names we're using are the names of the variables we have declared here. All right, so let's go ahead and add the last one. So I'm going to call this, let's see, border color. Yeah, and let's go ahead and change this to border color. Awesome. Now, the next thing we need to do, let's define the fonts, the font families we're going to be making. So let's say font family. Awesome. So the font family we're going to use, let's go and grab these font families from Google Fonts. We're going to be making use of Google Fonts. So let's open a new tab and let's search for font.google.com. All right, so we're going to search for the first font, which is Ether. So we are going to get it. All right, so it's already added here. Now let's come back and let's search for the second font, which is Roboto. And look at it here. Click on this and click edit it. So we have two of them, Roboto and Ether. So let's click on get embed code to get the link. So I'm going to come over here and what we're going to do right here is this. Let's switch this to at statepods and let's go ahead and click here to copy the link. So let's come to our index this here. Let's go ahead and let's paste the link here. And let's remove this die drag outside. So we have added it to our CSS file. So we added these two facts. Okay, so let's come back to our font family, our Tailwind.config.js. So right here, let's add the fonts. So the first one is HR, and let me give it a value HR. And the next one is Robot 2. And okay, so I can even do it this way. I can say that if Robot 2 is not available, then it should make use of sans serif. Awesome. So this is it. And I think we're done with the configuration we need to do there. If there's any other thing to do, we are going to do that later on. So let's start creating our components. It goes this. Let's first of all write some general style here before we now continue writing codes. All right. Creating the components. So here, any code you place within the base layer will be overridden, like it will be it can be replaced by the code you place within the components. And also any code you place within the utility layer can be overwritten, can overwrite the code you place within the components layer. All right. So I'm just going to place the code I'm about to write right now. Let's see at layer. Let's say this. So let's just write these few line of code. And we're going to specify the global width. Then you give it a 10. And let's say scroll behavior. Let's say smooth. Also scroll bar color. I'm going to use this color, which will be the hex code, for the primary color, right? So let's say this, and let's say transparent. Okay. Now I got to see that overflow should be needed, but then overflow on the y-axis should be auto. And let's apply some class here. So let's say that background is BG base, and the text color. Okay, and the fonts we're going to be using is here, Robotoni declare. Awesome. So I think this is enough. So let's go ahead and close this, and let's focus on creating components. So within the SRC folder, I'm going to create a new folder called components. And the first component we are going to be creating is the sidebar component. So let's go ahead and create sidebar here .js, and let's come back to our app. In order for the sidebar to be seen on the browser, we need to include it inside the app. So let's import here. Let's import the sidebar. Here. So we're going to, first of all, let's create the sidebar components before we start importing. So we're importing this sidebar and components, and let me clear this off. And let's see sidebar right here. Awesome. Now let's come over here. As you can see, you are not seeing anything on the screen, and that's because we have not written anything here. Like let's try something like sidebar here, and as you can see, here we see it on the screen. That is awesome, guys. So, the next thing we need to do is, let me just play this up. So here on the sidebar, let's start writing some code. Let's go ahead and change this div to a side. So let's say side, and let's go ahead and comment here. So I'm going to say sidebar dot start. All right, and let's say sidebar end here. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a div for the top here. And let's give it some class, Tailwind class, let's say flex. And let's say items center. And let's say justify dash between. Awesome. Okay, so now right here, we are going to be placing two things within here. The first thing is the logo, and also the second thing will be the close sidebar button. But for now, let's focus on adding the logo. So let's create a new component called logo.js. So let's create the logo component. Okay. So here we are going to be using an icon as logo. So what we're going to do is, let's go to the icon library we're using. If you take a look at our package.json file, you see that we are using one of the package. One of the package we're using is Lucid React. So let's come to the browser, and we're going to search for lucid.dev. So we have already installed it successfully. So let's come to icons, and here we're going to search for the icons we're going to be making use of. All right, so this is a particular one I'm going to be using as the logo. So you can click here to copy the component's name, and let's come back to the project. I want to close this, and right here, let's import it. So we import this from Lucid React. Beautiful. So let's come over here and let's add it. And let's go ahead and give it some class names. So I'm going to say that the color should be text primary, and also the font should be font-iter. Awesome. And the next thing we're going to do is let's add the text. So let's give this some class name, and let's say it should be font, let's say semi-bold, and also it should be font-iter. Okay, actually this one we don't need to even specify font on it. Let's remove this. Let's just say that the size should be size-8. Okay, awesome. Now let's go into the H1 and let's write this. Let me say span here. Let's give it text primary, and let's see where. Let's eliminate this space. Also, now let's do this plus. Before we continue, let me just quickly show you this. You see, while I'm typing the Tailwind class, it's giving me some suggestion. Example, you see item center. So for you to be able to have these suggestions in your own VS Code, you need to install an extension called Tailwind. Let me show you the extension so that you can go ahead and install it. Look at the extension here. It's called Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. So go ahead and install it into your VS Code, and that will give you suggestions when you are typing the class names. It's very, very helpful, and it will help you to be more accurate and faster. All right, so go ahead and install that extension. All right, so let's continue. And we're going to give it some gap dash var. Let's make the text thingy to text dash where that is a font size. And right here, let's add a frog called class name. So I'm going to be wrapping this with a color brace, and let's cover it up with backtick so that we can be able to write some JavaScript code in there using this to wrap it up. So I can say that if class name is set, add class name. That is cool also. So we have successfully created the logo. Now let's go ahead and add it into the sidebar. So I'm going to come up here and let's import logo, and let's convert this to logo. Awesome. So later on, we're going to be coming back here to add what is remaining. But for now, let's continue with other parts. So first of all, let me show you how this looks like. You see it, we have added the logo, and that is how it looks like. So let me scale this out. Okay. Awesome. Now let's go ahead with the next section in here. So I'm going to say, let's go over here. We're going to see here, let's say sidebar video start, and let's specify the end here. So now let's see flex. And we're going to give it flex 1. But I will tell you the reason why. This is because let's add some class here so that it will justify the reason why we are giving this flex 1. So for this, first of all, let's make it to be fixed. Okay. Let's give it a top of 0, and let's minus please, let's say 500 user, and let's say that let's say LG. Nice. We are going to see length 0. So we're saying that we should only show when the minimum width of the screen is for 1024 pixels. That is when it will only show. The left will be 0. Okay, so see this in action. So let's give it height of 100% and a minimum height of screen, which is 100 VH, 100 default height, and let's give it a width of 100%. But the mouse width should be, the mouse width should be, let's say, 400 pixels. And let's say on a big screen, the width should be 050 pixels. And the next thing is, let's give it a background by saying BG base. And also let's give it some padding in dashboard. And let's give it a border color. Let's say border color. And let's say that it should have a border color on a large screen. Border right color. We can border right of 2 pixels. Let's give it a flex. Okay. And make the flex should be color. So the flex direction will be color, right? That is what it means. And let's say items stretch. And let's say justify between. Next, let's say transition. Oh, and let's give it a duration 500. And that is awesome. So right now we're not going to be seeing this except on the last screen when this width is enough to show it. So this is how it looks like currently. Okay, so let me just bring this down. So let's continue with the middle section. So I'm going to give margin top -8 into -8, and let's see the border. Let's see border, and okay, let's see border color. Oh, border color, and we're going to see border border button, and let's see flow should be hidden, but overflow while up to, and let's enter within. So inside this, let's create an anchor tab, and I'm going to write I'm going to create some things within this anchor tab. So first of all, let's come up here and import an icon from Lucid React. Let's call it group. So the name of the icon we're going to use now is group, and I'm going to add it here. Yeah. Now next, let's see H3. So here, let me just write something like let's see dashboard, and let's give it some class. So let's see the class is text-rg. Sorry. Now let's give this guy some class. So I'm going to first of all simplex items dash center and gap -2 and margin top and bottom -3 5 and padding top and bottom -3 also. Okay, let's see 2. And next, let's see padding left to right should be -4. And let's see transition. And let's see text. Text widget. Hold on. Let's change the color to text color. And let's give it rounded -nd and bg -secondary. Also, now let's take a look at how this looks. Can you see that? This is how it looks like. But okay, this one, since it is highlighted, let's give it let's say that the color, let's just remove this. Let it just be text color, and that makes sense that way. Also, so let's go ahead and create a next anchor tab. All I need to do here is just to copy this particular one, and let's duplicate. So here I'm gonna change this one to charts. Okay, charts, and let's change this icon name to something like message. Let's say message cycle hearts. Okay, so look at it, and look at it is imported from Lucid React. And let me go ahead remove this, because this is not what you want to use. So here, let's also go ahead and add a div here. Within this div, I'm going to write it, and let's tie this. So I'm going to say margin length dash auto, and let's say size dash 4 and text dash sn bg, say vg dash red. Let's use 600. Let's say text dash white. Also, let's display to reflex items dash center and justify dash center. Also, let's say rounded dash full. Also, okay. So let's come over here and take a look. See how it looks like. Here, let's make some few changes here. So I'm going to say, let's change this to text dash T-widget. Okay. And let's see hover. Let's see text dash text color. And this secondary background, let's see that it should always appear hover, right? So, which means the first one will be the active one, while these ones we know are the ones that are not active. So let's go ahead and add more. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this particular one. Let's first, I'm going to change it. Let's change this text. See, on link text, right? And I'm going to go ahead and remove this, and let's change this icon. So let's say chat color start. Okay. And if you come over here, you see it has been imported from Lucy React for us. And that is awesome. That is cool, guys. So let's take a look at this once round. So you see the analytics here, and this is the chat, and that is beautiful. Okay, so what we need to do now, immediately after the first one, which is the dashboard, let's copy it and let's paste it after it. I'm going to change this to, let's change it to label. Let's see label here. Okay, and where is the end? This is the end here. So let's change it to yellow.
What we are about to create now is a drop down, and we don't want to create it using any JavaScript. It's just pure HTML and CSS. All right. So we're trying to create a drop down here. So let me call this. Let's call it. Okay. So let's just remove. Let's remove this. Awesome. Uh, Also, let's change this to T method, and on hover it should be text color, and also this background should only take effect on hover. Awesome. Now let's come inside here. So I'm going to create an input, and let's give it checkbox. Okay, and right here I'm going to create a div. Okay, so within this div, in fact, let's just remove this and let's place it within the div. So the class name is now for the div, and the label is not having any class name. Awesome. So here in the class name, let's add an icon. So I'm going to say package search. Okay, so look at it. It has been imported from Lucid React for us. So let's go ahead and add history text dash lg, and let's say products. Okay, and after this, let's add a div, and right here we're going to use an icon called chevron down. And if you come over here, you take a look, it has been imported for us. And let's give it a class of margin left auto, that is ml dash auto, and that is cool. So let's take a look at how this looks like currently. So you see how it looks like currently. And whenever I click on this, it has the ability to check and uncheck this checkbox right here. Can you see that? So let's come over to this. We're going to use this logic. We're going to create a logic here that we convert this to a drop down. So let's create a div here, and I'm creating this div within the label. We are just doing everything within the label. So I'm going to give this some class. So let's say max dash h dash 0, and let's say overflow dash hidden, and let's give it transition, and is in out duration dash 500, and that is cool. So next, let's enter this, and here we are going to uh, come over here. Let's come over to this. Let's copy this third one, which is the chart. Let's paste it within here. Okay, so we're going to make changes to this right now. So first, let me remove the count. Okay, and I'm going to change this to let's say add products, and let's change this icon to diamond, uh let's say diamond plus. Okay, and if you scroll up, you see that it has been imported for us here. Okay, so let's tweak this to fit perfectly into what we want. So what we're going to do, let's change this to text XM, and right here, let's remove this. Let's remove. Okay, so we have, let me just say rounded uh, D. And whenever we hover over this, let's change the color to text dash primary. Primary. Okay, and that is cool. So let's take a look at how this really looks like again. So look at it here. As you can see, it's not showing until it's showing. The add product button is not showing. That is because it is within this. Okay, now let's come back to this. Let's give it a class name. Let's say peer. All right. This class name is very special in the sense that we're going to use it to uh, drop this box, drop this, make it to drop as a drop down. So here I'm going to say that if the peer is checked, all right, then the max height should be, let's say, 200 pixels. Okay, so the reason why this will work is because this input is let's go. This particular element, this div, is a sibling to this input. All right, it must be a direct sibling to the input for this to work. Okay, so let's see. You see, when the input is checked, you see it appears, it drops, and when it is not checked, it hides. You see, we have just created a drop down without using any form of JavaScript. You see it? So what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and hide this input. We want to hide it, but at the same time, it will still be working. All right. So we're not going to do display none, because if you do display none in some browsers, it will not work. So let's just hide it, but using another form to hide it, but it will still work in all browsers. So let's start by saying opacity 0, and let's say invisible. Let's also make the height, the width to be 0, and the height to be 0. And let's say absolute, split absolute, and let's say top, and we're going to -9. We're just making sure that it is hidden. All right, no matter what. Awesome. So if you take a look, it is now hidden, but our drop down is working perfectly fine. Awesome. Uh, okay, so let's come back here. You see, before we add this, let's create a div here, and let's give it a class of p-2. So we're going to move this into, yeah, that is awesome. So what is remaining here right now is to just duplicate this and make changes. All right, so let's paste, and let's say manage. This one it should be manage products, and let's change the icon to, let's say, square dash kanban. Okay, so as you can see, it has been imported here. All right, awesome. So this is the end. Let's paste another one, and let's this one we're going to change this to sales, and let's change this to percent. And as you can see here, it has been imported. Now we're going to add something here. Let's create a span, and let's write new within, and let's give it some class name. So the class name we're going to give to the span is, let's say, ml-auto, and let's give it py-1, and let's also give it px-2, and let's say rounded dash LG, and bg dash primary. Also, let's say text dash white, and text dash sx. Awesome. Now let's take a look at what we have here. Awesome. So let's drop this. See it? This is beautiful, guys, and that is cool. We have been able to create this, and let's move to the next uh, section. Let's go ahead and create the bottom section. So I'm going to come over here, and let's say Sidebar bottom start, and let's indicate the end. Okay, so right here, I'm going to create div, and within this div, let's create another div. Awesome. And let's go ahead and give it some class name. And first, let's see margin top and bottom. my-4, and let's give it a border -b, and let's give it a border color. Okay, so within it, let's come over here at the top, and let's copy this, and let's come over here and paste it. Awesome. So let's change this. Let's change this to settings, and let's change the icon, the settings icon. All right. So as you can see, settings icon is already imported from Lucid React, and that is it. So let's duplicate this, and let's change this one to help, and let's change this icon to hand helping. Also, it has been imported automatically from Lucid React. Look at it here. Awesome. Now let's take a look at how this looks like. Can you see it here? This is how it looks like. Awesome. So let's come back. So after this div that contains these two, this setting and the help, let's come out, and let's create another div. So this div, I'm going to give it a class flex and gap -4, and let's create a div, and we're going to give it size -8, and let's say overflow -hidden and rounded -full, so that it will be a cycle. And let's add an image. The image we're going to be using is here within our asset folder. So let's import the image. So let's come over here and let's import. This is the image we're going to be using, this profile.jpg, and let's just call it profile here, and let's import it from the asset folder, and it's called profile.jpg. Awesome. So let's come back, let's come over here, and let's add it here, profile. Awesome. Now let's create a div, and within this div, let's create h4, and let's write the name of the. Okay, so I'm going to give it a class name of text-sm, and let's create a paragraph. So we're going to say, let's write manager here, and let's give it some class names. So let's say text-sx and text-text method. Awesome. Now after this, let's create another div, and we're going to use the icon called chevron down, which has already been imported right here, okay, from Lucid React. Okay, so let's give this some class. So let's say ml-auto, which is margin left auto, and let's say transition -all, and text method, and let's say helper text text color. Awesome. So this is it. Let's take a look at it. So I'm going to refresh. There's a problem here. Why is this not showing? Oh, all right. So this has to be outside This two has to be outside the profile container also. Okay, the image has to go inside the profile container, and that is cool. So let's see how it looks. So look at how it looks like currently. And for now, let's go ahead and create the navbar. We'll come back to complete what is remaining in the sidebar after we have created the navbar, because we need to be showing this sidebar on a mobile screen. All right, so let's first of all close this, and let's come over here, and we're going to create another component called Navbar.js. Awesome. Now let's create the component within it, and let me just write Navbar here, and let's come back to our app.js, and let's import the Navbar right here. Okay, so now that we have imported the navbar, there's a way we're going to add this navbar so that it will appear after the sidebar right here at this environment. All right, so let's create a main container here. Let's give it some class, some styling. I'm going to display it to be grid, and on mobile it's going to be the grid columns is going to be 1, and MD, let's say the grid column here will be, that is the grid codes will be this, uh, let's say auto, then let's say 300 pixel. So what this means is that on a screen size of 768 pixel, the grid column will be auto, then 300 pixel, which means the first column we have a width of auto, while the second one we have a width of 300 pixel outside. So let's go ahead again, and let's see that on the large screen you should have a padding length of dash pl dash 250 pixels, which will be the width of the sidebar. All right, so let's come inside, and we're going to create two column here. So let me see, column 1 start and column 1 end. Okay, so let's create the column. So for this column 1, let's give it a class of p-4 and md dash padding bottom eb dash 16. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead, duplicate this, and I'm going to say column 2 end. And for this second one, I'm going to just remove this, and let's add border color, and let's see on the large screen we'll add a border left 2 pixel. All right, awesome. So let's take a look at how this looks like currently. You see, okay, let's come over here, and let's first of all work on the first column. So for the first column, let me add the navbar that I just imported, and let's now work on the navbar. After we work on this navbar, we will now go ahead and work on other sections. So I'm going to change this to nav. Okay, and right here, let's give it some class. So let's say flex items dash center justify dash between, and let's fix it. On mobile, it should be fixed, and the top should be top dash 0, left dash 0, and the Z index should be dash 20, and width dash full at 100%, and BG dash base also padding top and bottom, let's say dash 2, and PXL padding left and right dash 4, let's say XN, or let's say static right here. So we're saying here that on a minimum width of 640 pixels, it should be positioned static. All right, but anything below 640 pixels, it should be positioned fixed. All right, so let's come over here and let's go ahead and write H1, and let's say overview, and let's give this a class name. So the class name we're going to give to it is let's say font dash semi bold, and let's give it to Excel, and let's hide it on mobile, but on a big screen let's display it to be block. Awesome. Now after this, let's add the logo we created previously. So I've imported the logo, but one thing about this logo, you see we added a class name to it, so we can add more classes to it. All right, so right here I don't want to show the logo on a bigger screen. All right, on desktop I don't want to show the logo because the logo is already on the sidebar on desktop. So on desktop I'm going to hide the logo, but uh anything below 1024 pixel the logo will show. All right, because by then the sidebar is already hidden. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create another div, and let's give this a class. Let's say flex, then items dash center gap dash 4, and right here we are going to add the theme toggle here, but we have not yet created that. So we're going to the theme switch. We're going to add it here, but later on let's create uh, other things. Later on we'll come back and create the theme switch. Okay, so let me just create an anchor, and let's say class relative, and right here I'm going to add the bell icon imported from Lucid React. Look at it here. It's imported from Lucid, and let me create a span here, and let's give this span a class of block and size dash 2, and let's say bg dash red, and let's say rounded dash full, and absolute top dash 0, right dash 0. Awesome. Now the next thing we're going to create will be, let's use label for that. This will be within it. Let's add the menu icon. So this will be the menu button, and as you can see, menu is already imported from Lucid React. So before we continue with this, let's go back to our sidebar. So here in the sidebar, I'm going to wrap everything up with this empty. Okay, so I'm going to just move everything into this empty container, right? So our sidebar is within this right now. So let's go ahead and create an input. And let's change it to a checkbox. Okay, and I'm going to give it an ID of let's say toggle dash sidebar. Okay, so let's come over here and let's use this. We're going to use that same ID in this label. So what this means is that this label can be able to control any checkbox or any input that has the same ID. All right. So let's expand. So look at the menu, and it contains the what's it called? It contains the uh, it's within the label. All right. So with this, when we click wherever the checkbox is now, it will be it's going to be checked. In fact, let's make it visible by, let's come back to the sidebar. Let's give it some class. So let's make it absolute. Okay, and let's give it a z index, a high z index, so that we can see it at the top. So take a look at it here. All right, so this is it here. So if I click on this, you see it's checked it. If I click it on check, so we can control it with this, and that is awesome. So we just want to create a slide of this sidebar without using JavaScript. That is what we're trying to do right now. Okay, so let's come over to here. So what we're going to do is let's just remove this, and let's have a peer class here. And this peer class is very special. Okay, so let's come to our sidebar. To the aside, let me expand this. So to the aside, we're going to say if peer, if it is checked, all right, if it is the peer is checked, then we can now go ahead and bring it out. All right, so what we do here is that we're going to say that we should have a length of 0 and also a z index. Let's give it a very high z index so that it will appear on top of our navbar, and that is awesome. So look at it now. You see we can use this. When it is unchecked, it is checked, it will appear, and when it is unchecked, it will be removed. Awesome. So now let's go ahead and hide this. And as usual, we're not going to use display none, or we're not going to use hidden, so that it will not cause problems. So let's say opacity dash 0, make it invisible, which is visibility hidden. And let's go ahead and give it a 0 width, a 0 height, and also let's give it absolute, and let's say top, and let's give it a custom value minus 9980. Awesome. So it is hidden right now. Now let's come over here. We are going to create a label also here, and the label we're going to create here is also for toggle the sidebar. So it must have the same ID with this input in order for it to be able to control that. So within this, let's use the X icon. So this X icon, as you can see, is already imported from Lucid React, and that's what we're using. So let's go ahead and give this a class, some class. So let's say size dash 12, and let's say flex, and let's say items dash center, justify dash center, rounded dash full, and let's say cursor dash launcher b dash 2, and let's say bg dash secondary, and let's say hover should be bg dash secondary, and let's make it some kind of transparent. And also we don't want it to show. If we expand this right now, you see right now this is showing, but now if we expand it the more, you see it is also showing uh on the bigger screen. We don't want it to show on the big screen, so we're going to say LG hidden, and look at it now. You see it on a big screen, it will be hidden, but on a smaller screen, it will show. I'm going to click on it. The sidebar will go back. You see it? Awesome. So let's go back to, we are done with this sidebar. So let's come back here and let's tie this. We're going to tie this, let's say class name, and let's say console dash pointer, and let's display it block, and also on a big screen we don't want it to show hidden. Awesome. So let's take a look. See, on a big screen the menu button will disappear. It will only show on a smaller screen where the sidebar is hidden, and that is cool, guys. Awesome. So look at it. That is cool. All right, so let's go ahead and create the theme switch. So let's come here and create theme switch.js and create the component. So I'm going to come back to the navbar and let's import theme switch. So we import it, and this will be the component. Okay, awesome. Now let's work on the theme switch. So the thing we need to do is let's change this to level. Awesome. So I'm going to create an input here, and let's change the type to checkbox. Okay, and right here we are going to pass the checked props to it, and we're going to find the value and place it there. So we're going to have unchanged pass to it, and let's also let's write some logic here. So the logic we're writing here right now is to make sure that the theme switch from light mode to dark mode on these buttons when it is being clicked. So let's say storage key here, and let's say it should be equal to theme. Okay, and let's create a state. Let's call it dark, and let's say set dark, and let's say equal to use state. So this use state is imported from React. That is where it's coming from. So we're going to pass a default value. Let's say JSON dot pass. Let's say local storage dot date item, and then we pass the storage key within. Awesome. Okay. Let's just make sure everything is fine. So we say JSON dot pass, then we pass in the we pass on this. Okay, so let's remove one of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say dark here, and also let's say that on change we're going to switch dark to event dot target dot checked. Okay, and that is cool. So this is it. Let's go ahead and let's come over here and let's use effect. So use effect is also imported from React, and let's pass the callback function and the dependencies block. So the dependency, let's say dark. So anytime this dark, the value of dark change, this use effect will rerun. It will run each time the value of dark change. So let's say if dark, we are going to say document dot, let's say first element child, which is the HTML uh, tag. All right, so we're going to say set attributes, and we're going to append. If you take a look at our index.css, it says that this style should only be active when we have there's an element, the HTML tag has an attribute called data team that is equal to dark. All right, so let's come over here and let's say data team. Then let's give it a value of let's say dark here. All right. So if dark is true, that's when this will happen. And also let's update the local storage by saying set item storage key, and we pass in this, but let me just say true here, and let's return. Okay, s, let's copy this, we just copy it, it's almost the same, and we'll change this to light. Okay, and change this one to false. Awesome. So this is the logic. So as you can see, each time, anytime this checkbox is checked, it will be dark mode. And if it is unchecked, it will be light mode. Look at it. Awesome. But we don't want to show this checkbox because it is not that cool. So let's go ahead and design it to look beautiful and more presentable. So what I'm going to do first, let's say class name here. We are going to hide this checkbox. Let's hide it. Opacity 0. And let's say width 0. Height 0. And let's say invisible. And make it absolute. And also let's say top. And let's make it disappear. 999 ISO. Awesome. So let's come over here and let's create number one. What we're going to create is the sun. Using the sun icon, which is we're importing from Lucid React. And let's go ahead and give it some classes. So I'm going to say, let's say rounded dash full, and let's give it p dash 1. And let's come back to this and let's have a pair to it into the checkbox. And here I'm going to say that if pair, let me dictate it. If it is not checked, if the pair is not checked, okay, if it is not checked, then we're going to give it a bg dash primary, this one. S, okay, let's copy this again and let's paste it here. Okay, we're also going to change the color of the text to text white. Also, now let's come back, let's come here and let's add another one. Let's say moon. So moon is also imported from Lucid React. So let's see here class name, and we're going to say rounded dash full, and let's give it p-1, and we're going to say that if pair, if it is checked, then let's go ahead and give it a bg-primary, and if pair also, if it is checked, let's give it text dash white. Awesome. And let's come and style this label. Let's give it some class. Let's say flex items dash center gap dash 3 and cursor dash pointer bg dash secondary and rounded dash full py dash 2 and px dash 3. Awesome. So look at how it looks like. Let's try toggling it. You see it's now on the dark mode. If it is on the dark mode, the moon will gain the styling, the primary styling. If it's on light mode, the sun will get the primary styling. And this is cool, guys. Next thing we need to do here is to prevent color flashing. You see, when I'm in dark mode and I try to refresh, it will first of all show me the light mode before showing the dark mode. That is called color flashing, and we need to prevent that from happening. So to do that, let's come to the index.html file. So here, let's come over here and let's say style. And within this style, we're going to say HTML data dash theme. If it is equal to light, then let's give it a background. The background we're going to give it is this FD. That is this FD. And next, let's say HTML data theme. If it is dark, then let's go ahead and give it a background of let's make this one dark 1 2 1 2 1 2. Awesome. Now even after adding this, it will still not work. But this thing is required for what we're about to do now to work. So let's come over to here. Let's write a script. Okay, so I'm going to open this. So I want this function to run itself. That's why I'm using this second bracket after the first bracket. So I want it to run itself. All right, so let's add this. So here we are going to come back here. Let's copy the key in the local storage. So this is the storage key, and let's paste it within here. Now let's go ahead and create a function to set the theme. So let's say set theme, and also do this. So let's just pass this parameter. So let's say dark mode. It can either be true or false. So let's say document dot first element child, which is our HTML. So let's set an attribute data theme. So if it is true, we're going to set it to dark, as we set it to light. Now let's come down here and let's say const. Let's get the browser default theme. So let's say window dot match media, and let's pass the media query. So we're going to say refers color scheme. So we're trying to check if the preferred color scheme is dark. So if it is dark, it will be true. If not, MQL will be false. But if it is dark, it will be true. So let's say stored theme. Okay, so let's say local storage dot get service. That's a storage. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Now let's say const dark mode, and let's say stored theme, and let's pass in JSON. Let's pass it to JSON. Okay. And text, we're going to just use the MQL, and we're going to say matches. Awesome. Okay, so let's say system here, and we pass dark mode, and let's set it to the local storage dark mode. Awesome. And that is cool. So you see, when we're in dark mode right now, if we're in dark mode and we refresh, it will use dark mode to refresh. There's nothing like color flashing anymore. And this is the professional way of implementing light mode and dark mode. So let's close this file. Also, let's close the theme switch. And also let's close the navbar since we're done with them. And let's go to the next session. So the next session we're going to be creating, we're going to call it statistics. So let me create here. Let me call it statistics dot CSS. Okay, so let's create it here. Let's write statistics, and let's import it right here. Let's say statistics. All right, and let's add it after the navbar. Awesome. So let's come back here and let's write code for the statistics. So let's go ahead and give this guy some class name. So let's say that MD. Let's give it a border, and let's give it a border color, and let's say MD. Let's say P-4, and let's say rounded dash LG, and let's say MT-20, and SM. Let's say MT-6. Awesome. Now let's create a container here. We're going to say grid. So it's going to be grid, and let's say SM grid goes -3, and let's say gap -2, and let me comment here. Let's say box start and box end. All right, so let's create a box here. Let's give it some class. So we're going to say P-4 rounded dash LG, and let's say transition dash all, and BG dash accent, and let's make it some transparent, kind of transparent, and hover. Let's say BG dash accent, and let's divide by 50, and let's say shadow dash RG. Awesome. So right here, let's create H4, and I'm going to write total customers and let's go ahead and give this a class of text dash text widget and text dash left. Awesome. Now let's create a div here and let's give it some class and let's say empty dash 2 and lg, let's say flex items dash center and justify dash between. Also let's say gap dash 4 and let's use h1 here and let's just add the amount. Let's give this a class and let's say font dash bold and let's give it text dash alg and that is cool. And also let's go ahead and create a paragraph. So here I'm going to say plus 4.50% and let's give it some class and let's say text dash red let's say 500 and text dash sm. Awesome. So I'm going to duplicate this box 2 more times. Let's say 1 and 2. Okay, so we have 3 of those boxes. So let's come to the second one. So for the second one, I'm going to change this to primary. Okay, and on hover, let's change this also to primary. So on hover, we're going to use 5. Just 5 is okay. Awesome. Now let's change this text to let's say total revenue. Okay. Okay, and let's change this text. So and let's see 9. Yeah, and let's change this to 9 points. Okay, 50, and let's change the text to just green. The color of the text to green. Awesome. Now let's go to the next one. So this one I'm going to change this to let's say green, and also this let's change it to green, and let's change this to 5, and also this let's say it should be total income. So let's change this to this one. Let's change it to 1 point. Okay, and let's change this to 4 and change this to green. Awesome. So we are done creating this. Okay, so for the last one, BG green. Okay, so we need to add the deepness of the green. So let's just say 300. Okay, so let me just say 300 there, right? Awesome. And this is it. This is good. So we are done with this, and let's come here and create another container. So let's say div
and let's give it some class name. Let's say empty-8, and let's say flex, and items dash center, and justify dash between. And let's go ahead and create history, and let's say revenue, and now like this. Okay, and let's give it some class name. So let's say text dash review, and also let's give it a font dash semi bold. Also, let's see behavior, and let's give it a class name of flex items dash center gap dash 4. And within here, I'm going to create a button, and let me see week, yeah, okay, and let's give it some class. So the first class, I'm going to say bg dash transparent border and border color. So let's say px dash 2, and let's see again that's grounded dash full, and let's say text dash text, and text dash text method over the text dash text color, and let's say transition. Okay, awesome. So this is how it looks. So I'm going to duplicate this 2 more times, and I'm going to change this one to month, and let's change this to year. Awesome. So after this, let's come down here and create another container. So I'm going to create a div, and let's give it some class name. Let's say margin top and bottom, like my, let's say dash 4. And here, let's create paragraph, and let's say income, and let's give it some class names. So let's say text dash lg, and text dash text method. Okay, and let's create a div here, and let's say class name flex. Let's say items dash center, and let's say gap dash 4, and let's create h1 here, and I'm going to write an amount here. So let's say this, and let's give it some class name. So let's say font dash bold text dash review, and that is cool. And now let's create a paragraph. So let's see 3 cents, and let's give this a class name text green dash 500, and text dash percent. Awesome. So let's come over here, and let's see Twitter income this week. And let's give it text dash ss and text dash TailwindJS, text widget, and that is cool. So after that, let's come down here and let's create a div again. Let's give it margin top 20-8. Okay, and within here we are going to be adding a chart. All right, so let's go ahead and add a chart. So let's come up here, and right here we are going to import bar from React Chart.js -2. So we have already installed this dependency. As you can see, is among the dependencies we installed. Look at it here. Also, we installed Chart.js dependency. So for this to work, we must import chart from Chart.js, and we're going to see underscore auto. We're not going to be using this component for anything, but we must import it this way in order for this to work. The reason is because this import holds some things that this one depends on in order to work. All right, so let's go. So let's come over to this and let's add the bar. Okay, let's see bar here. So we're going to be passing the data, and we're going to also be passing the options. So let's come up here and create the data and the options. So I'm going to come here and let's see const, let's see revenue. You can go to chartjs.org to learn more about Chart.js. All right, so let's go ahead and set this, and also the options. Let's see revenue chart options. Okay, and let's come over here and add the data. So let's say revenue data here and the revenue chart options. So let's come over here and let's structure the data. So let's say let's add the levels, and it's going to be weekdays. Let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, so Saturday up to Sunday, and let's add the data set. So for the data set, it's going to be array. So here, let's label it. Let's say sales, and let's add the data. So for the sales data, let me just say 16, C16, let's say 12, 15, and 11, 20. You can use any number you wish to use, okay, but it will determine how your uh, how it will look like, how your chart will look like. So the background color, we're going to use RGB. Okay, so I'm going to say we should use this. Let's say 35, then let's say 0.8. Okay, awesome. Can you see that? So let's add the second. I'm going to just let's duplicate this particular one. Okay, and let me change this to profits, and let's remove this and say 4. let's say 14, 10, 15, 10, 18, let's say 17. Awesome. And let's change this color to 34,197. And let's say 940.4. Awesome. So take a look at this. Now let's come over here and let's pass in the options. So the first option is the scales. So on the x-axis, I'm going to color the grid. So let's say color. We are going to be using RGB. Okay, so the color of the grid should be, let's say 229,231, let's say 235, and let's say 0.4. Okay, and let's come out of this and also select the y-axis. So for the y-axis, I'm going to say begin, let's say begin at 0, and let's say true, and let's say grid, let's say display, let's say false. Okay, awesome. Now let's say plugins here. So the plugin, I'm going to use this plugin to first of all, let's add comma here. So I want to disable this label here. So I'm going to say legend. So I'm going to display the legend to false, and that will be disabled. Now let's come over here and let's see bar thickness. So for the bar thickness, I just say 15, and I should come on here. And let's see border width. So for the width, let's see 2, and let's see border color. Let's see transparent, and let's see border radius. Let's see 10. Awesome. So this is how it looks like, and that is cool, guys. It's so cool. And let's go ahead and create the next section since we are done with this session. Okay, so make sure this is imported this way. If not, it will not work. Okay, so let's take a look at how to create the next section. So let's close this. So the next section I'm going to be creating is called the transaction section. So let's see, let's create a file called transactions. .jss, and let's create the component. So let's come back to our app.js sets and let's import our transactions component, and let's add it after statistics. So let's say transactions. Awesome. So here in the transactions, let's start by changing, giving this some class name. So let's say class name, and let's say empty dash it, and let's come over here and let's uh, create a div. So let's say flex here, and let's say items dash center and justify dash between. And within, let's create h1, and let's see transactions, and let's give it some class names. All right, so let's see the class name, say text dash rg and font dash semi bold. Awesome. And let's go ahead and create a div, and let's give it this text. Let's say show all, and we are going to use an icon called max minimize 2, and look at it here is imported from Lucid React. Let me just remove this, and let's give this a class name of size dash 4. Awesome. So we are done with this. Let's come to here and let's create a div, and we're going to give it a class of empty dash 4, and let's see border, let's see border dash border color, and let's see rounded dash lg and overflow dash hidden, and let's create a table within. So this table, let's give it a class of w dash full as width of 100% and text dash sm. Next, let's create a t head. So within this t head, we're going to create a tr, and within the tr, let's create th. We're going to have multiple of them. So let's create something in this first th. This first th, okay, let me just do this first, and we're going to see that it should have p dash 2. So let me click it. So let's focus on the first one. Okay, so here on the first one, we are going to create a custom checkbox. Alright, so uh, let me first create an inline flex div, and within this div, let's create a label, and let's remove this HTML4 because we don't need it. So right here, we're going to create an input, and let's change this to checkbox. Also, let's give this some class names. So I'm going to say flex items dash center and justify dash center and cursor dash pointer and let's say relative, and let's give this guy a class name. The class name, so I'm going to give it, let's say h-5 w-5, and let's say cursor dash pointer and transition dash all, and also let's say appearance, no, and rounded dash uh rounded dash, okay, so let us say rounded, and let's give it some shadow, and hover, let's give it shadow dash md, Let's say border, and let's give it a border color, and let's say when checked, let's give it a background of bg-primary, and also let's change the border color to border-primary. Awesome, and that is cool. So here, let's give it an ID. Let's give it an ID of check. Let's say check one, and that is cool. So after this, uh, let's add a pair to this. Okay. So let's come down here. After that, we are going to create something down here, but let's create a span. Okay. So let's give it some class name. Okay. So the class name, let's say absolute, and let's say text dash white, and opacity dash 0, and let's say here checked. We are going to give it opacity dash 100, and top, let's say 50%, but let's say 1 divided by 2, and left 1 divided by 2, and let's transform and translate x on the x-axis 50%, which is 1 over 2, and also on the y-axis 50% also, which is 1 over 2 divided by 2, and that is cool. So within this, we're going to be using an SVG. So I have an SVG here and an asset folder, and it's called shaped. Look at it. So I'm going to convert this. Let me just create check check. Let's see the GSS. Let's create this. Let's create it as a component. I'm going to remove this, and let's come over here, copy this, and replace this with it. That is all. So now let's come to here within the span, and let's import shaped. Okay, and as you can see, it's imported here from the asset folder, and let's refresh this. So look at it here. See, when we check, look at it. That is awesome, guys. This is powerful. Awesome. So we are done with this first th. So the next th, let's give it let's say customer. Next, uh, let's say products, and the next one, sorry, let's see dates, and next, let's see action. Okay, and okay, next. Okay, let's change this one to status. Okay, and some of them I want to hide them on mobile. So the first one I want to hide on mobile is the dates. So let's come over here, and I'm going to say hidden first on mobile, and md from let's say sn, then we display it to the block. Awesome. So let's copy this, and also let's go ahead and hide this on mobile. Okay, That is cool. Now let's come up here to the TR. So here in the TR, let's try this. So let's say last name text dash left, and also let's give it BG dash secondary dash school. Okay, so this is it. So let's now come over here and let's create T body, and within this T body we are going to be outputting the transactions. So let's go ahead and create the transactions so that we can output them here. So let me create transactions here. So let's say transactions, and let's add the status. So the status for the first one, let me just say one, and name, let's say Emmanuel Ezra, and let's say image. So for the image, we're going to be using this user 1 up to user 4. So let me call the first user. So let's say user 1. We are importing it from the asset and JPG. So let me just import all the images. So I'm just going to change this to 2. Then this one 2. This one should be 3. And this is 3, 4, and 4. And this is user 1. And let's see product here. And let's see parse arg. Okay, and let's give it a date. We're just going to generate the random the current date. All right, so let's say date dot to local date string, and there we go. So let me put comma here, and we are going to duplicate this 3 more times. So we have 4 of them. So for this second one, let me change it to 2, and let me change the name, and let's change the image. Also change the product name, and let's change this one. Let me change the status to 0. Change this, and let's change the name to okay. And what we're going to do, let's see, and next thing we're going to do, in fact, let me just change this one to 1. Let's make the last one to be 0, and let's see, let's change the name, and let's change the picture to 4, and let's change this to awesome. So this is it. Now we're going to look through this. So let's come over here, and we're going to see we're going to just move through it. So we're going to say transaction here, and then the index. Okay. Come on. So here we're going to return, let's say tr, and let's give it a key of index. Okay. And also let's give it some class, a class name of p. Okay, there's no need. Let's just come inside. So inside, let's create a td, and this td we're going to have more than one. So let's say p-2. Let's duplicate. So for the first one, we are going to use the same checkbox, this custom checkbox we created here. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, and let's paste it within this first one. Okay, so this is it. This is where it ends. And after pasting that, uh, we are going to go ahead and um, let's go to the next one. Let's just go. Let's come over here, and right here I'm going to create a div, and let's give it some class. So let's say size -5, and let's say overflow hidden, and let's say rounded full, and right here we are going to output the image, which is transaction image. Awesome. Now let's come over here, and let's select this one, and let's say items center, and let's say gap -2. Okay, so after this, let's create history, and let's say transaction dot name here, and let's give it a class of front bold. Also, let's say text sm, and we're going to hide it on mobile. So let's say hidden, and let's display it back to block when there's enough space to display it. Okay, so after that, we will go to the next one, this one. Let me duplicate more so that to know the exhaustion. So on this one, let's change this, let's add this. I'm going to add the product. So this is the product column. So let's say dot product. Okay. So next, let's come over here, and we are going to output the date over here, and the date is always hidden on mobile. So let's have hidden here, and we'll display it when there's enough space to display it. Okay. So after that, let me duplicate this one. So here we are going to create a div. So right here we are going to be outputting. Let's come over here. We're going to be outputting the status. Okay, so right here, I'm going to say const start this, and I'm going to say transaction dot status equal to, and this is success here, and let's say transaction here dot status, if it is equal to 0, okay, and we are going to add show here. So or if it will be processing, okay, and that is cool. Okay, so right now, after this, let's go ahead and let's create the styles. So let's see const, let's see status styles style. Okay, so we're going to say that if the status, if it is equal to success, then we are going to see text just green, let's say 500, and let's say bg green 500 divided by 20. Okay, s if status is equal to fill, then divided by 20, s we're going to say text orange. Okay, this text orange we're using 300 divided by 20, so let's change this to 300. Okay, awesome. So these are the styles we're going to be using, and also the status. Okay, so let's come here and let's output the status, and right here let's create a class. So inside this class, let's use this backtick so that we'll be able to write JavaScript. So let me first of all say py-1 and px-2, and let's say text dash sx and text dash center, also rounded dash rg, and let's add the styles, the status styles. Okay, awesome. So let's take a look. Can you see that? And that makes sense. When we expand, look at this. So let's come to this one. This one will be the last one. So let's create an anchor tag. Okay, so I'm going to create an anchor tag here, and let's say view, and let's give it a class name of font dash semi bold, and let's say text dash sn. Okay, and let's say text dash center, and let's hide it on mobile, only show it when there's enough space. Awesome. So let's take a look at this. So see how it looks like. Wow, this is cool. And we can check this, and I check. Awesome. So let's come to this section and create the right bar section. Okay, so this is it. And let's go ahead and close this. Also close this. And let's go to the next one. Let's now go ahead and create the next section. So here, I'm going to create another component called, let's call it user. And let's see, let's create a component. And let's come back to app.css and let's import it here. And let's add it to the second column, user here. Awesome. Okay. Let's now write some code. Let me remove this. Okay, so here, let's start by giving it some class name, e-4, and let's say text dash center. And we're going to be hiding this on mobile. It's not going to show on mobile. So let's say, okay, mb block. Okay, so I'm going to create an empty container here, and let's place this within the empty container. Awesome. Okay, so now let's create a div, and within this div, let's create an image. And the image we're going to be using is the profile.jpg picture we have within our assets folder. So let's import it. Okay, so we're importing it from, if you take a look, we have profile.jpg here. So let's press it. In the asset, we have profile.jpg. Okay, and let me remove this. So let's add a profile here, and let's give this some class name. So the class name, let's say size dash store, and let's say rounded dash full, so that it will cycle. And let's say overflow hidden here, and margin auto and dash auto. Awesome. Now right here, let's create h1, and I'm going to give it okay, let's first of all create a div. Let's give it some class. All right, so let's say py-1 and px-4, and let's say bg-primary, and let's divide it by 10, and let's say mt-4, and border, let's say border color, give it a border color divided by 30, and let's say rounded dash lg, and within, let's create h1. Okay, so we're going to write, okay, and let's give it some class. Let's say font dash semi bold text dash sm. Okay, and let's come over here and say p, and let's say manager, and let's say class name, and let's say text dash tmethod and text dash sx. Awesome. Now come over here. We're going to create a button here. So let's call it, say view details. Okay, and let's give it a class name of py-2 and px-4 and bg-primary, and let's give it rounded dash object text dash white, and let's see hover, and let's give it bg dash primary divided by 10 and text dash sm. Also let's see hover, let's give it text dash primary. Okay, and inline block, also empty dash outside. So let's see, let's take a look at this. So this is what we have outside. So let's go ahead. After this, let's come here and let's create a div again. So here, let's give it a class name. Let's say empty dash 8, and let's say bg dash primary, and let's see, we're going to be using a background image here. So the background image we are going to be using is this one. So let's come to tailwind.config.js and let's configure it to recognize the background image. So let's say background image, and I'm going to say bg, let's call it, let's give it a bg texture. Okay, so I'm going to say right here, we're going to say URL, okay, and we're going to trace asset. Okay, so it's an asset folder. Okay, and the asset is a asset, and it's a bg dot png. Okay, so we have accessed this, and I'm wrapping this within a quote because there is a dash in between. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and let's say bg, and let's say bg dash texture. Okay, and uh, let's go ahead and give this. We're going to give it another. Let's say bg content, so that we uh, okay, so text center, and let's see. Uh, let's go ahead and increase the okay, so let's say ey dash 8, okay, and let's say px dash 4, and let's say rounded dash lg, and let's say text dash white, and let's enter inside. So let's create h1, and let's say boost your brand switch, okay, and let's create a class of text dash xl and font dash, let's say semi bold, and NB-2 margin button, and right here let's create paragraph. I'm going to say right. So let's say class, and let's say text dash white, or divided by, let's say NB margin button dash 2. Okay, and let's create this. We're going to see boost now, and let's go ahead and give it some class. So let's say py-2 px-4, and plus say bg-primary, and let's say rounded-lg text-white, and let's say hover. We're going to say bg-primary divided by 70, and text-sn, okay, inline block. So let's take a look at this. Look at it here. Awesome. This is cool, guys. So there is it. We're done with this user. Let's go and create the next section. So the next section we're going to create is the engagement section. So let's create engagement. Okay, so let's say .gss, and let's create the component, and let's come back to app.gss. Let's import it here, and let's add it after user. Awesome. Now what we need to do, let's come over here. So I'm going to remove this, make it an empty container. Awesome. So let's go ahead and create a div, and I'm going to give it a class. Let's say py-2, and let's create h1 here, and let's write sales by country. Okay, and let's give this some class. Let's say flex, okay, font bold, and let's say text-lg and nb-2. Okay, and let's create a container here. So we're going to create a container, and let's give it a class name. Let's say w-fit, and let's say m-author. So right here we're going to be outputting an SVG where we're going to be rendering our map. All right, so let's first of all go do the configuration before we start rendering. All right, so what we need to do right now is let's come over here. We are going to be using D3.js to render the map. As you can see, we have installed D3.js, and also we're going to be making use of it. Okay, so we have the data we're going to be using ready here. Okay, so the GeoJSON we have the GeoJSON data, and we have the active countries. We want to change the background of the countries as the active country. All right. So let's come over here. We are going to first of all import everything as D3 from D3. Okay. Now let's import the GeoJSON. So let's do GeoJSON. So we import it from the data. We see data folder here, and we have the GeoJSON. Now let's import also the active. We call it uh, active countries. Active countries. Okay, so we're importing it from data and active countries. Look at it here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do right now is let's do the configuration. I'm going to first of all come here and let's say const, let's say width should be equal to, let's just say 270, and let's say const height should be equal to, let's say 150. Okay, and next let's create a projection for the map. So let's say projection will be equal to D3. This is the projection we're going to be using. Geo marketer. All right, and let's fit it. Let's say fit size. We're going to pass in this. We pass in the width and the height, and also we pass in the geo JSON. All right. Also let's see scale. We are going to scale it. Let's say 45. Awesome. And let's stop here. Okay, so this is what we have. Now let's see const. Let's see geo path generator. Okay, so it will be this d3.geopath.projection. Then we are going to pass the projection we created here at the top, and that is cool. So now let's come to here, and let's give this guy, before we must start, let's give it a width. The width we declare at the top, and the height, let's say it should be auto. All right, and that is cool. So now let's come over here. We're going to loop through the GeoJSON data. The GeoJSON data, we're going to loop through it, the features within it, and let's see geo here, and let's go ahead. Let's come over here, and we're going to return. We're going to return this. We're going to return the path. Okay. Okay, so this part we are going to see the key. Because it's in a map, it is in a it's an array. We need to provide a key. So let's say geo. Let's say ID. The ID is always unique, and let's say D. Okay. The D will be equal to let's say geo generator, and we're going to pass the geo. Okay, and stroke. The stroke color. Okay, so the stroke color will be F5, F5, F5 will be okay. Let me scroll down. Can you see the map is already added? Okay, so let's see stroke width. The stroke width will be 1, and the fill. Okay, so the fill will be equal to this. We need to come here and let's write some code that will give us the fill color. So let's say fill color, and let's say we're going to use the active countries. The active countries. So we are going to see dot includes. If it includes geo dot id, then we are going to use this color RGB here, and let's say var primary, and we divide it by 1. S, we are going to say that let's say 29, let's use this color 29213, and let's say 219.5. Awesome. Okay, and what we need to do right now, I think something is missing somewhere. Okay, so remove this, and there is remove this, it's not required. Okay, so the error is saying where. Okay, so let's add the fill color. Okay, so as you can see here, these active countries, we just have the country code, what's it called, the country, the abbreviation of each of the countries. So if the GeoJSON, if it has any of those country abbreviation, then it means it's an active country. Then we give it the primary color, else we give it uh, a general color. And look at it here. See, it makes sense. It makes sense this way. So the next thing we're going to do is, let's see, fill opacity, let's say 1, and let's give this a class name. So we're going to see hover, and hover, we are going to see fill primary, and let's divide by 50. And also on hover, let's change the stroke color. Let's say stroke primary, and we divide by 70. Also, okay, so can you see that now? See, when we hover, look at it, hover stroke primary. Okay, okay, so this is cool, guys. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to add the zooming functionality. So to add the zooming functionality, let's come over here. Let's add a ref to this. So let's come over here and create something called, let's call it svg ref, and it's equal to use ref. So this ref, to use ref is imported from the React.js right here. Okay, so let's come over here, add the svg ref. Okay, awesome. Now come over here and using use effect. All right, we are going to write the code within the user first. So let's pass the callback function and also the dependencies. So within this use effect, we're going to say const svg will be equal to d3 dot select, and we are going to select svg ref dot current. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is let's say const let's say map group. So the map group will be equal to svg dot select all. I will select all the parts, and let's set up the zoom behavior. Okay, so to set it up, let's say const zoom and equal to, it will be equal to d3 dot zoom, then dot on let's say scale. Let's set the limit zoom level using this. So we're going to see 1, then 8, and let's see dot on, let's see zoom. Then what we're going to do is let's give this event. Okay, so let's say map group dot attributes. We're going to add a transform attribute, and we are going to output event dot transform here. Awesome. So the next thing we need to do is to call this. Let's call it. Let's apply it to the SVG. Like let's say apply zoom to SVG. So we're going to say SVG dot call. Then we pass the zoom. Awesome. So let's see if it will zoom in. Can you see that? Awesome. You can zoom to any particular area you wish to zoom to. And that makes a lot of sense, guys. Awesome. So let's go ahead. After this, let's create another div here.
And let's create some class. So let's say p-4, and let's say bg-secondary, and let's rounded -lg, and let's go over here and create another div. Let's give it a class name flex and justify -between, and let's say div, and let's see history here. Let's say read cells, and let's give it a class font dash semi bold, and let's say text dash lg, and let's come over here and create so tutor traffic runs. Okay, and let's give this some class name. Let's say text dash text media and text dash send. Yes, after this, let's come over here, create a button, and go to sliders, vertical. So this will be imported from Lucid React over here. And let's give this some class name. The class name we're going to give is dg base p-2 and rounded -rg. Awesome. Now let's come out of this and come over here. We're going to create a div, and let's give this a class name dg base in or rounded -rg nt -6. And here we're going to be adding a chart. So let's come over here and import chart.js, and let's say /auto. So this must be imported in order for this what we're about to do to work. All right, so let's see, import donuts from this. We add chart.js too, and let's use it here. So I'm going to use donut here, and we're going to pass the data, and we're going to pass options. Okay, so we're going to see, let's go over here on the top here. Let's create past. Let's say social data, and let's come over here. Let's use social chart options. Okay, so let's go ahead and add them before we start writing those data. So let's say social data here, and right here let's say social option. So what we need to do right now is let's come back here, and let's start with labels here. So let's see labels, and let's say Facebook. That's Facebook. Let's say YouTube. Word. Let's say Google. Let's move over here and let's write data sets. So for the data sets, we are going to add a logo, and then they'll see traffic clients. We are going to see beta here, and let's see 118 here, 110. Okay, this is going to be an area 118 right here. This, and let's specify background colors for each. So let's see background color. So we're going to specify background color is blue, RGBA, and I'm going to say C 9 1 3 0. That's a 2 4 6 and 0. That's 7. Now let's specify for YouTube. So let's see also 1 or 0 to 3, but let's see there 5 here. Let's see RG here. Well, maybe. Wow, let's see. See, right, see, there's see. Let's see it sees, and let's see, give it 5, right, or so. Gives to the result. Now let's go over after this as its border yield of here. So let's go over here. Let's see what we have widget. So let's add some options. So let's see plug ins. So let's give the legend. Let's say legend. And for the legend, we want to display the display is true. But then let's say the permission or the let's see the class true. Awesome. So look at how it looks like right now. This is how it looks like with screen. Awesome. So let's come back here. Let's come back and let's after this let's add let's add a button here. Let's see D and let's give it to glass first items center and justify the twin and the basketball. And let's see here. Let's name above chocolate. And next, let's go ahead add this button. And here I'm going to say them. Where let's move over here. Last name. Let's say keyword. Or let's say explore. And let's see the standard. Let's see what I'm build. Balls probably. And let's see tips. That's white. And let's see cover. Let's say DG primary. And let's divide it like 10. And let's see text dash SN. And let's see cover. It should be text primary. Inline dash block. Awesome. So look at it. Okay. So let's we have come to the end of this tutorial. Let's take a look at what we have created so far. As you can see, it looks very cool. Awesome. This is beautiful, guys. Please, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please make sure you subscribe. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure you subscribe and like this video. Also, make sure you write your comment on this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next tutorial. Bye, guys.